think
that
what you
way.
might need to get you one of them rubber bands like smoking people do. You know what I mean? Pop it on your wrist. Like when you say something that's on your mind, just pop it on your wrist.
Pop it before you say it.
I think you get it. I was sharing this morning with a young lady at the Y, and Phyllis. I was sharing with her how, and I teach my grandkids about tools, and I pour out the tools, and I name them all for them, and then I make them name them, and if they get them wrong, I hit them in the head with it. You know, I hit them in the head with a screwdriver, pop them on the head if they get it Philip, if they get it wrong or whatever, and it really helps them. You know, a little pop on the head, and I could tell when my youngest grandson, when he didn't quite know, he'd start shutting his eyes because he knew I was going to pop him on the head, and so sometimes that will work. And you know, but I think there's things that we can change our mind about stuff.
Oh,
absolutely. And we can change our mind,
Absolutely.
and I think that's where we come in. I think if politicians would say sometimes, "Hey, I just changed my mind." You know what I mean? You know, I changed my mind about this, and I think that's.
And lots of times you change your mind. I teach my students when I was teaching, you know, you can never get enough information, you know, and business is all about making a decision.
Right.
And that's when I'm teaching you in this MBA program, every course you take, every course is written, it's about making a decision. So we're going to give you all the tools you need to make the decision. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to make the correct decision, but
Right.
I'm going to try my best to provide you with the tools. And I think sometimes we don't have the tools to get the job done, and that's why we can change our mind.
Right.
When we get the information, you know, we have something on our mind, and it can change because
Yeah.
we find out different facts.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%.
I do that too. I mean, there's things in my life I look at and I think, well, you know, this is the way I did think about this, but I changed my mind about it, and I'm thinking about something else, and I got something else on my mind, and I don't know.
I seem to change my mind a lot more lately. I mean, the older you get, but
Yeah.
you learn. Sometimes it's wise to change your mind.
Yeah, you know, there's things that I look at. I think what I've run into, Jerry, is I don't, at one point in my life, I was extremely ambitious. Okay?
Me too.
I was I mean, you know, I had 8 restaurants, had other business. My son said I was a serial entrepreneur because
You were?
I would
You
go
were.
in any business, I would look for stuff. I think, but I don't know. I've got to a point to where I just don't know. I look at life a little different. And it's different because I believe life has chapters, doesn't it? I mean,
Oh, yes.
it has chapters,
Oh, yes.
and you got to know when the page has been flipped in order to understand where you are. If not, you'll find yourself standing out in the snow in a T-shirt. And you got to know the seasons of life. And I feel like there's a different season in my life. And I look at that point and I say, all right, I mean, there was a time, I had 107 TV stations at one point. I mean, there's things that I done all that when in Italy, when they had their COVID summit, I done all their programming from here in Tazewell. When the
Didn't
truckers
know-
done their
didn't know
big, when the truckers had their big strike in Canada, I don't know if you remember that, they had a big strike.
do
there.
remember.
I done their programming and their media work
I didn't know that.
from here. But you know, I've had people want me to do things now, but I say, you know, I think I'm going to go to the lake. You know what I mean? Now there's still things I want to do. I found this, and I know this. I got things I want to talk about, and I appreciate. Only reason I'm gonna ever let you go leave here is if you'll come back again.
I'll come back.
But what I think is, I found myself several years ago, almost 3 years ago, losing friends that would die. Okay, just die. Okay. Well, and I study a lot about depression.
I lost one last week.
Okay.
James Adams.
I love James.
James was
good.
He was 6 days older than me. We grew up next door neighbors.
James has spent summers at my home working on my home, and my
That'd
kids.
kill me.
My
And I didn't know it.
When my kids, my youngest daughter, when she got hurt one time, she didn't come to me or mom. She said, "No, I want James to look at it. He'd been at our house so long." Okay, he would come in.
Great man.
But so what I found was in my life, I got to losing people. When I began to study on people being depressed, it was because their world got smaller. Okay? And I said, you know, I don't want my world to get smaller because I see this is where it can come from. I need new friends. Okay, I need to add more. And well, you can't just go out tomorrow and get 20 new friends. Okay, so what I done though was start putting myself in positions for new relationships and new friendships, and started strengthening some that I already knew. And man, my world has grew exponentially. It's grew. I mean, when I went on the board for the Tazewell County Fair, well, I mean, I don't need nothing else to do, okay? But I said, well, all right. When they approached me, I said, I'll do it. And I went on there, and I've made so many friends.
Of course.
But I think that can happen.